The story begins with our protagonist deep in philosophical thought, questioning one eternal truth: cats are clearly superior beings. Soft fur, glossy coats, maximum snug potential. Compared to that, human interaction feels wildly optional. Just picture it: daily cat cuddles, instant emotional recovery. Surely this fantasy has crossed everyone's mind at least once. And that leads to a dangerous question: what if cats were people? The scene jumps to a young boy desperately attempting to grab his cat, lovingly called Mechan, for an aggressive cuddle and a deep sniff of that mysterious cat scent. It's quickly revealed that our MC is reliving a memory from his childhood dreamscape. He suddenly wakes up, and immediately notices he's sharing his bed with a stunning black-haired woman. Startled beyond reason, he rolls straight off the bed. After regaining his dignity and checking that his spine still works, he asks the obvious question: who exactly are you? The girl casually rubs her eyes and mutters something vague about them doing something, triggering his panic for a split second before the misunderstanding dissolves on its own. He checks the clock and freezes. It's already 7:30 a.m. Survival instincts kick in, and he bolts to get ready for work. Before leaving, he tells her they'll talk later. The girl, left behind in his apartment, wonders how someone can leave so calmly when reality has clearly gone off the rails. At his job in a neighborhood supermarket, he gets a call from one of the part-timers. Her son has a fever, so she needs the day off. He explains carefully that emergencies still require advance notice. She fires back, asking if she's somehow supposed to schedule her kid's illnesses. Realizing he's stepped on a landmine, he tries to clarify, but she hangs up first. He exhales, already envisioning a long, miserable shift, understaffed and unforgiving. Once the others hear the news, gossip begins. They recall seeing Suzuki leisurely spending time with her child the last time she took leave. Plus, her husband works from home. Surely she could manage a half shift. The two coworkers, calling him Natsukuin, suggest giving her a firm warning. He can't keep letting things slide. He agrees, decides to cut her shifts, and earns their approval. Then, almost immediately, he retracts the decision. The mood drops. They label him spineless, unreliable, and casually roast him for being single while they're at it. The assistant manager, a woman his age, tells him bluntly that his appearance isn't doing him any favors. His unpolished look is why the older ladies don't respect him. He accepts this wisdom with a silent nod. By sunset, he clocks out and heads home. He complains internally about how exhausted he is, not just physically, but emotionally bruised by workplace commentary. His mind drifts to one comforting thought: cats. He wants to kiss one. Smother it with affection until it looks mildly confused. He wishes cats were easier to talk to than people. Yesterday, at least, was perfect. His thoughts are interrupted by the sight of a black cat gracefully strolling along the wall. His mood flips instantly. Overcome by cuteness, he wonders where she came from. The cat allows him to pet her like it's no big deal. He offers her some milk afterward, feeling a twinge of guilt for freelancing as a temporary cat butler. A memory hits him, and he softly calls out, "Mechan," his expression changing. The cat suddenly slips past him into his apartment. Panic sets in, pets are strictly forbidden, and the landlord despises cats. Despite that, he still can't stop himself from stroking her head. Soon enough, the cat curls up and falls asleep on the mat. He wonders if she's some sort of semi-stray. Unable to wake her, he shifts her slightly to make room and lies down beside her. Now, as he prepares for work the next day, he reflects on how adorable she was, and senses he's forgotten something important. That's when it hits him, the girl from the morning. He scans the apartment just in case, even though he's almost certain she's gone. While thinking about her, the cat startles him again. He lifts her up and rubs his face against her fur, showering her with affection. He wants to keep her close but worries about getting caught. As he opens the door to let her out, he pauses. If the door was closed, how did she get in? Choosing not to spiral, he gently says goodbye. Right then, the cat looks up at him with watery eyes, silently begging him not to leave her behind. It's cold and dark outside. He worries she could get hit by a car, or worse, kidnapped by some obsessive cat enthusiast. She's beautiful and already wandered into his place once. He whispers a warning about the landlord on the second floor. The cat immediately quiets down, obedient and attentive. His thoughts drift back to the mysterious girl. Maybe she was a scammer. Maybe he unknowingly invited her in while half asleep. He regrets not talking to her properly. He forces himself to focus on work, knowing leadership means disappointing someone no matter what. Even though he told the others he'd reduce Suzuki's shifts, he decides to let it slide for now. She needs the money, and sick kids aren't something to gamble with. There must be a reason, even if she lied. Lost in thought, he's suddenly licked on the face, lips included. Stunned, he thanks the cat, the gesture reminding him of how Mechan used to do the same thing. Assuming she's hungry, he prepares some cooled-down anicaps, rice, miso soup, and dried bonito flakes. He fills the bowl generously, fully aware he's overstepping as a temporary cat guardian. The cat devours the food, especially the bonito flakes, which he casually notes were leftovers from a wedding. After eating, they both head to bed. He's oddly happy to fall asleep next to a cat again. He remembers how well he slept the night before, unusual for someone who usually wakes every 2 hours. Maybe the cat is the secret. He notices a ribbon around the cat's neck. Just as recognition starts to form, he drifts off. When he wakes, he feels warmth beneath his head. Looking up, he sees the same girl, wearing the same ribbon. He realizes he's resting on her lap. She calmly tells him it's already afternoon. He screams. He asks if she's the girl from yesterday, but she cuts him off, explaining she borrowed his clothes. She reassures him she's not a thief or a scammer. She says she wanted to thank him for the Nico manhwa. It was delicious. She coaxes his name out of him, Natsu Iori. She calls it cute and bluntly admits she likes him. With a mischievous smile, she leans closer and tells him she'll allow him to keep her. Iori is left completely speechless. Still processing everything, he asks her what she's even talking about. Before she can answer properly, her stomach lets out a loud, traitorous growl. She raises a finger and tells him to wait a second, as if her body just interrupted the conversation. Without warning, she declares that she wants French toast, specifically French toast, which unsettles him more than it probably should. Despite his hesitation, she insists he make it, claiming no one else but him could possibly cook it correctly. She clarifies she means the kind made with baguette, not ordinary sliced bread, as if that should have been obvious. Iori would much rather eat out than shop, prep, and cook. But then she casually mentions she can't go outside. If she does, people will chase her away. The moment it clicks, his expression stiffens. She looks at him quietly, and tells him she's thankful. Later, on his way back with groceries, he wonders why he's running errands for a strange girl who appeared in his house uninvited. She seems oddly proud, yet there's something about her that makes it hard to say no. Passing a bakery, he realizes it's been ages since he last stopped at one. Catching his reflection in the window, he notices something strange. His dark circles are gone. The lack of eye bags confirms it. He's actually slept well for 2 days straight. Between work stress and losing Mechan's comforting presence, insomnia had become his normal state. He suddenly becomes aware that he's been staring at the bakery like a suspicious drifter. The staff inside look nervous. Panicking, he rushes in, buys a baguette, and leaves as fast as possible. Back home, he cooks French toast, complete with salad and soup. He asks for her thoughts, mentioning that it took real effort. As expected, she praises his cooking without hesitation. He explains that he's always liked cooking and has been good at it since childhood. He admits he tends to overbuy groceries and made a big portion because she looked starving. She reaches up and starts playing with his hair, teasing that his owner instincts are showing. She thanks him sincerely before digging in. As she eats, Iori notices the red ribbon around her neck. A vague memory surfaces, identical to the one the black cat wore. The realization hits him hard. He asks how she knows about cat food, reminds her she suddenly appeared 2 days ago, and finally demands to know who she really is. Calmly, she tells him she's the same black cat that wandered into his apartment. His brain shuts down. She's surprised he's never heard the catgirl story, someone who's human by day and turns into a cat at night. When he questions how ridiculous that sounds, she admits it does resemble an urban legend, but insists it's real. There aren't many like her. Since they turn into cats at night, they avoid being seen, returning to human form at sunrise. She explains that when she transforms, she isn't wearing clothes. That's why she was naked the next morning. That's also why she couldn't leave earlier. She's glad he has the day off today. He briefly considers that this might be an elaborate prank, then decides there's probably more to her situation than she can explain. She suddenly offers him a bite with the same spoon she's using. He freezes. After feeding him, she tells him to eat properly and hands him his fork, as if nothing unusual just happened. He tells her that aside from the catgirl explanation, he doesn't think she should stay here. When she asks why, he explains that living in a single man's apartment is dangerous in an entirely different way. There might be days he doesn't come home, and considering that, it would be safer if she stayed with a woman instead. She smirks, clearly amused by his logic. She bursts out laughing, calling him a genuinely nice guy. She lists the usual excuses: small living space, high costs, or how unsettling it would be to watch a cat turn into a girl. He mutters that he isn't disgusted by her at all. Smiling, she says she wants to stay, that she's well behaved, and that they already eat and sleep together. Casually, she adds that improving his quality of life is her goal. He blushes as she leans closer, his heart beating loudly. Gently brushing his bangs aside, she says the first step should be giving him a haircut. Later, she stands over him, scissors in hand, determined to fix his messy hair. He apologizes for how bad it is and wonders how it even got this way. Remembering Taguchi's comment, he asks if she's serious about cutting it. She tells him not to worry, though her closeness is what's really making him nervous. Then she casually admits she's never cut anyone's hair before. After witnessing the disaster firsthand, he immediately goes to a professional barber. With a proper haircut, he heads to the supermarket. There, he runs into Taguchi, who is surprised to see him since it's his day off. He explains that Shima, the blonde, middle-aged employee who called him gutless, contacted him about Suzuki suddenly taking leave again. Taguchi is stunned that Suzuki does whatever she wants. When she asks if he's filling in, he says he has no plan and will handle it. Taguchi tells him to go home and assures him she'll cover the shift. He argues that it's unfair since she's off too. She insists. When he asks why she's so determined, she shrugs and says he just seems better today. That's all. The comment catches him off guard. Another employee compliments his haircut, making him flustered all over again. When he returns home, the catgirl greets him. Seeing her sprawled comfortably on the couch makes him uneasy. She compliments his haircut, even though she admits she cut off way too much earlier. He reminds her she's the reason he had to visit a salon. After inspecting him, she says he looks better than yesterday, probably because he ate properly and finally slept. The carbs gave him energy, and the sweetness relaxed him. He wonders aloud if the French toast was secretly for him. She shrugs shamelessly and says it was all for her, she just wanted to eat it. The honesty annoys him. He starts complaining about how arrogant she is, then pauses. It hits him, she really does act like a cat. After a moment, he asks her name. She climbs onto him, leans close, and whispers, "Mechan." Stunned by her face and the name, he barely reacts before she transforms into a cat right in front of him. It's not the timing he expected, but he stays calm. He watches as she leaps onto him and begins aggressively licking his face. Without thinking, he hugs her small, warm body. He's always had a weakness for black cats, and this one is especially unfair. Iori is completely absorbed as Mechan playfully chomps on his fingers. He laughs through the pain, half amused, half offended, then generously offers his other hand as if to keep things fair. Telling her his hands aren't chew toys has zero effect, she's committed. It's been a long time since he's been scratched or bitten like this, yet somehow, he feels strangely at ease. After an energetic night of play, the two eventually head to bed. The next morning, something soft repeatedly pokes his cheek. Half asleep and irritated, he sweats upward, and instantly freezes. Mechan is leaning over him, smiling brightly, far too awake for this hour. Panicking, he rolls straight out of bed and yells that she should at least be wearing clothes. Checking the clock, he sees it's only 6:30 a.m., painfully early. When he asks why she woke him up, she simply says she's hungry. He grumbles that he normally wakes at 7 and doesn't even eat breakfast. She shrugs, still claiming starvation. Annoyed, he points at the fridge and mutters, "There's bread," before diving back under the blanket. Unimpressed, she launches herself onto him in human form and starts biting again, clearly protesting. Later, while he's serving her food, he complains about the biting. She calmly explains she had no choice. He refused to wake up. Between mouthfuls, she asks if he realizes she stays awake all night, wandering around until sunrise. That's why she's always starving in the morning. He honestly didn't know, he'd planned to sleep until 10. She asks if waking early was really so bad, considering he's now eating breakfast for once. Pleased, she digs back in. From Iori's point of view, Mechan is selfish and operates entirely on her own schedule. Human by day, cat by night. She's practically the textbook definition of a catgirl. He never agreed to let a human live with him. Mechan the cat was one thing, but here she is, the same creature in a human body. Hearing him mutter, she reminds him that cat and girl are the same being. Noticing how differently he treats her human form, she teases him. Just recently, he was thrilled playing with her, scratches and bites included. He explains that cats are cute no matter what they do. That's simply how the universe works. With a pout, she insists her human side is cute too. He stubbornly argues that her cat form is cuter. Amused, she doubles down on the teasing. The conversation shifts when he asks about her ribbon, wondering if she has an owner. She explains it's not a pet accessory, it's protection to keep her from being taken to shelters. Before he can ask more, the doorbell rings. At the door is a package addressed to him, without a name. Mechan appears behind him and immediately claims it's hers, opening it without hesitation. He asks why it was sent to his apartment. She waves it off and jokingly offers him her underwear. They laugh, but his face soon turns serious. He reminds her she's only staying temporarily. Once she finds somewhere else, she has to leave. She replies with a distracted, "Okay," clearly not listening. Then the doorbell rings again. This time, it's the landlord. Caught off guard, Iori stumbles through the greeting. The landlord bluntly asks him to walk his dog, Tetsuo. Acting on instinct, Iori pats the dog and notes how long it's been. Apparently, the landlord's back started hurting again yesterday. He asks Iori to take Tetsuo to Third Park, far away, and while he's at it, deliver a notice to Takahashi and water the plants. Peeking from behind the door, Mechan comments that he's being used. Just before leaving, the landlord mentions hearing a cat the other night, and asks if it came from Iori's place. Iori panics internally but manages to say it was probably a stray. Once the dog is handed over, he tells Tetsuo to wait, while he grabs his jacket. When he turns back, Mechan is already stepping out, clearly coming along. Reminded about daylight, she argues it's still early. She tosses his jacket at his face and tells him to hurry. As they walk, Mechan comments on how easily he accepted all the errands, wondering if this happens often. He explains it's not normal, but ever since he walked Tetsuo once, the landlord's back has mysteriously kept hurting. Noticing her intense stare, he begs her not to look at him like that. People already call him a pushover. She guesses that in school he was probably the guy always asked for notes, or forced into unwanted tasks. He groans, confirming it. His nickname was Eternal Errand Boy. Iori insists he just does what people ask. Mechan challenges that logic. Being asked doesn't mean you have to say yes. Making excuses or refusing is allowed. He argues he's not special. He just does what anyone could do. For once, Mechan gets serious. She stops, looks straight at him, and says she doesn't want just anyone taking care of her. She wants him. To her, being chosen by her is special. He should have more confidence. Embarrassed by the praise, he looks away. After watering the plants, they return. The landlord happily greets his dog, and completely ignores Iori. Before Iori can brush it off, Mechan steps in, calling the landlord out for his rudeness. When she repeats herself, the landlord finally understands and properly thanks Iori. Their eyes meet, and Mechan beams. Curious, the landlord asks who the girl is. Iori stumbles again, calling her a visiting relative. The landlord looks unconvinced but lets it go. Back inside, Mechan immediately jumps onto the bed and announces she's going to sleep while Iori heads to work. Before leaving, he tells her to be useful if she's staying another night, maybe hang the futon or cook dinner. She says nothing. The silence answers everything. Still, Iori thinks cats are cute when they're shameless. Humans, less so. That evening, he comes home to Mechan in cat form. Instantly switching into cat lover mode, he tries to hug her, but she slips away and leads him toward the kitchen. There, he finds a sticky note. Human Mechan wrote, "Proud of you for keeping the kitchen clean." Her tail flicks in agreement. Beside it, another note compliments his cooking and asks what's for breakfast tomorrow. On the living room table, a third note reads, "I like how kind-hearted you are." His face burns red. As if on cue, Mechan rubs against him affectionately. Blushing, he finally admits to himself, maybe the human side of her isn't so bad after all. Every night, Mechan begins her routine with a quiet stroll beneath the stars, padding through the darkness like it's second nature. The moment sunlight creeps in, her body shifts back into human form. She casually steals a shirt from Iori's closet, pulls it on, and slips into bed beside him as if it's part of the schedule. Morning arrives with familiar chaos. Iori's irritated voice jolts her awake as he complains about her sneaking into bed again. Still half asleep, she groans and wonders how someone can be this loud so early in the morning. He points dramatically to the sleeping bag laid out the night before, reminding her it was prepared specifically for her. A brief flashback shows him rummaging through his closet and uncovering an old sleeping bag a friend once left behind. He never expected it to be useful, but felt oddly relieved he hadn't thrown it out. While setting it up, he caught Mechan kneading the fabric with intense focus, a sight that made him smile despite himself. He made it clear she could sleep on the bed as a cat, but once she turned human, the sleeping bag was mandatory. Back in the present, she shrugs and points out she never agreed to that rule. She casually suggests he sleep in the bag instead. When he argues it's his apartment, she dismisses it. There's plenty of space, and he should be grateful a beautiful girl is sharing his bed. He snaps back that he's not grateful and doesn't need her narrating his feelings. Truthfully, he's just overwhelmed. Mechan is completely shameless and utterly unaware of how reckless she's being, though that might just be her inner cat talking. Suddenly, she throws a tantrum. He scowls and asks if she's a kid, which triggers a sudden, alarming thought. How old is she? She answers casually, 17. She adds that she's on a leave of absence, so it's fine. He freezes, then immediately raises his voice, warning her that if she crawls into his bed again, she's out. No exceptions. She looks genuinely confused. Just minutes ago, she was welcome in his bed as a cat, and now she's being treated like an intruder. She calls out the hypocrisy, how he'd sacrifice his pillow for her in cat form, but won't let her share the bed as a human. He fires back that cats are different, cute, and not a legal issue. When she asks if she isn't cute too, he dodges the question. That's not the point. Annoyed, she mutters that she is cute, whether he admits it or not. Trying to change the subject, Iori threatens to give her only bread for breakfast if she keeps it up. Calmly, she sweetly calls his name and asks for cat food instead. And somehow, he ends up making it before heading to work. Later at the supermarket, he reflects on how boldly she demanded cat food earlier. To him, she's arrogance in human form. For lunch, he eats a modest rice ball, dried fish with cheese filling made from leftover nekama. Simple, but decent. Mid-bite, his phone buzzes. Confused about how she got his number, he checks it. It's a photo of human Mechan. He frowns and sets the phone aside. Then another message arrives, a photo of her as a cat. A grin instantly spreads across his face. He saves the image without hesitation and replies with a sticker of a cat giving a thumbs up labeled, "This is the best." Soon after, 2 employees enter the break room. One of them is Taguchi, chatting about a new hairbrush. It's cheap, works well, and makes hair shiny. Iori perks up, mentally noting it might be useful for Mechan. Taguchi's friend suddenly freezes upon seeing him eat. She's shocked. Until now, she's only seen him drink water. And this looks homemade. Suspicious, she jokes that maybe he had a girl over. She claims she even saw him walking a dog with a beautiful black-haired girl. At least, she adds with relief, he's not doing paid dating. Iori finally snaps and clarifies. The girl wasn't a hooker or his girlfriend, just a relative, or someone he's taking care of. She doesn't buy it. That girl was far too cute to be related to him. Back home, Mechan is sulking. She can't stand that Iori only reacts to her cat form. Her whole life, people have called her cute, friends, classmates, strangers. Yet Iori only lights up when she has fur and whiskers. Fuming, she gets revenge by eating all the sweets he'd been saving. That evening, Iori comes home to find Mechan asleep, curled up beside a plushie, hugging it tightly in an unintentionally adorable way. He pauses. Something about the sight pulls him in. Quietly, he sits beside her, watching. Her long black hair spills across the pillow, catching the light and soft waves. His expression softens. Watching her sleep stirs a warmth he hadn't expected. Almost unconsciously, he reaches out, gathers a few strands of her hair, and gently runs his fingers through them, brushing slowly. Mesmerized, he recalls how smooth and glossy her fur is in cat form, too. Is there a connection? Either way, she clearly takes good care of herself. His thoughts drift back to what his coworker said earlier, about him walking a dog with a really pretty girl. Looking at her now, he can't deny it. Mechan is beautiful. Then reality slams into him. He's a man in his 30s brushing the hair of a sleeping 17-year-old without permission. He freezes in horror. The calm evaporates. Nope. This is bad. Very bad. As he pulls back, something catches his eye, crumbs near her mouth. His expression darkens. She ate everything. Under his breath, he mutters, "She's really cute for an adolescent." Unaware that she's actually awake, face burning under the blanket. What was that? Her heart races. Why does hearing that make me this stupidly happy? Just as she's about to sit up and force him to repeat it, her body starts glowing. At the worst possible moment, she transforms back into a cat. Iori instantly switches to full cat lover mode, crouching down and offering her milk. Inside, Mechan sulks at the timing. Still, he noticed. He finally said she was cute. Her ears perk up, only to flatten seconds later when he smiles and mutters, "If only Mechan could stay a cat forever." Her joy shatters. That night, she ignores the bed and curls up in the sleeping bag instead, tail flicking in silent protest. While Iori sleeps like someone who pays rent, Mechan is out on her nightly stroll. One small detail about her nightlife: she can casually chat with other cats, as if that's the most normal skill in the world. A cat lounging atop a wall strikes up a conversation, clearly clocking her as the new face on the block. He says he's noticed her wandering around at night, and introduces himself as Terran. Curious, he asks whose human she belongs to. She points toward Iori's apartment, and says that's home base. Terran stiffens. That's the apartment of the terrifying old guy who once chased him with a broom, and a dog named Tetsuo for backup. Mechan proudly explains that the human she lives with is actually gentle, responsible, and even prepared a special sleeping area just for her. Terran blinks, genuinely impressed. That sounds suspiciously nice. Suddenly, another cat draws Terran's attention. He calls out to her, "Maria?" Mechan instantly remembers. She and Iori once spotted Maria stretched across a car roof during a walk with Tetsuo. Iori had admired her refined aura and wondered aloud if she was part Norwegian forest cat, which was oddly specific. He tried petting her several times, all of which ended in rejection. Still, he'd looked weirdly mesmerized afterward. Terran says Maria lives nearby but spends most of her time outside. Even he admits she's charming. But that calm, elegant smile immediately annoys Mechan. Obviously, she's the cute one here. Later, Mechan slips back into Iori's bed and quietly watches him sleep. She remembers the moment he called her cute and feels her face warm all over again. She's heard it plenty before, but this one hit differently. Watching him mumble in his sleep, still serving imaginary customers, she almost feels bad for him. Almost. I'll make him say it again, she decides, leaping straight onto his face and sitting there without remorse. It's not about how many times he says it. It's that he didn't say it immediately. Meanwhile, Iori dreams he's being attacked by a robber, which is technically accurate. Morning arrives with the alarm screaming betrayal. He wakes up groaning, muttering that he dreamed someone was choking him. Mechan greets him with a radiant smile. He responds automatically, still half asleep, and already suspicious of that smile. She stands up and does a little spin, proudly showing off her new loungewear. The fishing for compliments is painfully obvious. Instead of praising her, he scolds her for wearing something so revealing, snapping that she's gotten way too relaxed around here. He grabs the sweatshirt she abandoned on the floor and tosses it into the wash, grumbling about colds. She decides he's acting like her mother. During breakfast, the room falls into an awkward silence. They glance at each other. Iori breaks it by commenting on how impressive her appetite is this early in the morning. Mechan's shoulders slump. That was not the compliment she wanted, specifically. "You're cute." Annoyed, she yells at him. After breakfast, Iori heads to work. Alone, Mechan stares out the window, telling herself there's no point crying over spilled milk. She wonders if he'll be back while she's still human. At the Benny supermarket, Iori gets stuck mediating a heated argument between coworkers. When he tries to shoulder the blame to calm things down, he's told to mind his own business. Another employee suddenly pulls him aside without explaining why. At the front entrance, he freezes. Mechan is standing there. She cheerfully calls it a surprise visit. He's stunned, she never mentioned coming. Immediately, he grabs her hand and drags her away, fully aware of coworkers peeking from behind the shelves. Outside, Mechan proudly hands him a bag of taiyaki she bought at a discount. She mentions she almost came in her uniform but forgot it. Still, she's confident her outfit is cute. That's when Iori finally snaps. He tells her not to come here again. He appreciates the gesture, But this isn't okay. She asks why, genuinely confused. He answers bluntly. It's a pain. The supermarket's part-time aunties are legendary gossip machines, and once rumors start, they never stop. Disheartened, Mechan walks away and ends up at a nearby park, venting to herself. Why am I acting like some overly attached girlfriend? She wonders. Watching a mother play with her children, something clicks. Being cute isn't just about looks. It's about making someone happy. She asks herself what she actually wants to do. She knows she's terrible at housework. She can't cook, barely cleans, and doesn't even know how a washing machine works. As she struggles to think of something she can do for Iori, a stranger suddenly approaches her. I finally found you, the person says. That evening, Iori comes home exhausted. Right before closing, he dealt with a shoplifter. Hungry and drained, he pulls out the premium canned cat food he bought from Mechan, assuming she's already asleep. But when he doesn't see her, he checks the apartment. Maybe she went for a walk. That wouldn't be strange, but she's always home when he gets back. His chest tightens when he notices the open window letting in cold air. Mechan, the one who always returned to sleep beside him, hasn't come back. Concern finally wins. With a heavy sigh and zero confidence, he leaves the apartment to look for her. Unfortunately, the task is absurd. Searching for a black cat at night is like hunting for a shadow inside another shadow. After wandering around far longer than pride allows, he gives up and returns home. He convinces himself this is probably just a one-night disappearance. She might come back tomorrow. Maybe she's simply accustomed to roaming at night. After all, he was the one who let her stay. She's free to leave whenever she finds another place. Even so, the unease won't let go. The thought that she might be searching for somewhere else to belong twists in his chest. Unable to ignore it, he searches online about nocturnal cats and learns that those without a safe daytime shelter often wander at night until they find one. Probably how she ended up at his apartment. As he lies down, her words echo in his mind. She didn't want just anyone. She chose him. Sleep refuses to come. He stares at the ceiling until a familiar sound reaches his ears. Instantly alert, he bolts upright, heart racing with relief. At the window, he sees her climbing inside, clearly exhausted. He rushes over, grabs a towel, and starts wiping her down. For everywhere. Leaves stuck in impossible places. A nasty scratch above her right eye. What happened to your pretty face? He blurts out, then notices her paw, scarred and scraped far worse than he expected. As he carefully tends to her injuries, debating whether a vet visit is unavoidable, she suddenly transforms. Now holding human hands instead of paws, he freezes as she smiles up at him. Good morning. He panics instantly and yells at her to get off him. She points out that he's being dramatic, especially since he's the one who picked her up in the first place. Once things calm down, he disinfects her wounds. She worries aloud that the cut might scar her face. From his perspective, it's deep enough to hurt even a human. She mutters that she'll never forgive that idiot, which he overhears. When he asks what happened, he guesses she fought another cat. She confirms it with a small nod. A flashback shows Mechan confronting Maria, asking why she was so far from home. Maria dismisses her, saying it's none of her business, and turns to leave, assuming Mechan is just strange. Mechan stops her and boldly invites her to meet her owner, Iori, specifically so he can pet her. Maria is baffled. Mechan explains that her owner tried to pet her before, but Maria always refused, even though his affection was sincere. Maria scoffs, saying there's no reason to let someone like that touch her. When she asks who he even is, Mechan reminds her they've seen him, the man with the Shiba dog and the cute black-haired girl. Maria recognizes him immediately, and labels him unimpressive. With a smug grin, she says she only likes handsome men. That's when Mechan snaps. The injuries she now has make it very clear how fierce that fight became. After hearing everything, Iori calls it ridiculous. He asks why she'd go that far, though he's also stunned to learn she can talk to cats. She explains that she did it because she thought it would make him happy. He exhales deeply, overwhelmed that she'd risk herself over something so trivial. He tells her he was worried. Shocked, she asks if he stayed awake all night. He explains that she's usually always there when he sleeps, but this time she wasn't. Even after lying down, he couldn't rest, convinced something had happened to her. Smiling brightly, she lifts her arm toward his face and declares that this proves he loves her after all. She boldly tells him to take responsibility and shower her with affection, since she plans on sleeping beside him forever. She adds that she also has a serious attitude problem. Noticing the time, 6:45 a.m., he tells her a shipment is arriving early, and he has to leave immediately. Before heading out, he casually addresses her human form by name, Mechan, and tells her breakfast is in the fridge. It takes a moment to sink in, but once it does, she practically jumps in place. He called her that. Like it was normal. Outside the apartment, Iori pauses, trying to calm himself down, though his face remains embarrassingly red. Inside, Mechan notices her real name written on the food container in the fridge. She smiles softly, then her phone rings. It's a familiar girl calling her Mio, checking in. When Mechan asks why she isn't at school, the girl reminds her it's Sunday. She also mentions how Mechan disappeared the day before, leaving her brother nearly in tears. He'd wanted to talk longer. Mechan remembers him suddenly showing up while she was resting in a park near Benny's supermarket. She ran away when he started pressing her to stay in contact, be careful, and explain everything about her owner, especially what kind of man he was. The girl admits that level of overprotectiveness is normal for them. Curious, she asks about the owner himself. Mechan thinks carefully, describing him as no ordinary cat lover, someone genuinely kind and unlike anyone else. When asked if she's chosen him as her partner, the girl reminds her of the consequences. If they don't bond with a man before adulthood, they'll slowly lose their human form and remain cats forever. Mechan says she understands the risk, but insists that isn't why she's with him. She simply feels safe in his home, and believes the girl would understand. Before hanging up, she asks the girl to tell her brother to give her some space. Confident she can make her own choices, the girl agrees. The contact name reads, Tamaki. With only 1 year left before her time as a human ends, Mechan sits quietly, lost in thought. The following day, Iori approaches Mechan with an unusual request. She pauses, intrigued. This is the first time he's ever asked her for a favor. He explains there's a place he wants to visit with her. It's about 20 minutes away by train, and he'd like her company if she's willing. She doesn't even think twice before saying yes. A short while later, Mechan emerges fully ready for their outing. Seeing her, Iori asks if they're all set to go. From her perspective, absolutely not. His hair is sticking out in every direction, his skin looks dry, his clothes are clearly tired of existing, and he's somehow managed to collect several fur balls just standing still. Without warning, she grabs him and begins fixing the situation. Eyebrows are trimmed. Lotion is applied. Hair is styled with wax. His hoodie is declared unsalvageable and tossed aside. He protests, insisting he's a guy and guys don't bother with this stuff. She snaps back that if he's going out with a beautiful girl like her, the bare minimum is not looking like he just crawled out of a cardboard box. He's a grown man, not a raccoon. After apologizing, he asks where they're going. Moments later, Mechan realizes she's standing inside a cat cafe. Her enthusiasm drops sharply. Still, part of her suspected this outcome. Iori explains that ever since she mentioned understanding cats, he's been curious. He thought it would be fun to know what the cats here are thinking, that's why he brought her. Watching him beam like a kid on a field trip, Mechan agrees to help, though she warns him her understanding is limited in human form and she can't literally talk to them. Distracted by the sheer number of cats, Iori barely hears her. He pays the entry fee and immediately zeroes in on a long-haired cat with an impressive tail. He asks what the cat is thinking. Mechan watches closely and says it wants absolutely nothing to do with him. Unfazed, he moves on, hopping from cat to cat. Before long, he's misty-eyed with joy. He admits he's always been curious about this place but never had the nerve to come alone. Now that he's here, he's glad he did. He casually mentions he'd like to make this a regular visit. That comment irritates her, especially since, in her mind, he already has a cat cafe at home. When she voices this, he looks genuinely confused and tries to explain that it's not the same. While he fumbles for words, several cats begin circling Mechan, clearly interested. Mid-conversation, a woman approaches and introduces herself as Osato, the cafe's manager. She casually notes that the cats surrounding Mechan are all male and jokes that they're shallow creatures with a weakness for pretty girls. She sets down the dessert toast they ordered, a cat-shaped bread with matching sides. It's adorable and smells incredible, and Mechan immediately digs in. Between bites, she admits the bread is delicious even without the ice cream. Osato beams and explains that it's homemade, she baked it herself. Observing how naturally Iori handles the cats, Osato asks if he owns one. He says yes, and she nods knowingly, commenting that he moves like someone experienced. She starts guessing breeds: tabby, calico, maybe even purebred. When he says black cat, she smiles and calls it beautiful. He adds that this cat is sort of like his second one, which Mechan clearly does not enjoy hearing. He shows Osato a photo of Mechan in her cat form. Osato gushes, calling her adorable, and points out the rare pink paw pads against black fur. Her dramatic reaction makes Mechan quietly wonder if it's really that uncommon. Osato mentions that Mechan looks like the opposite of her own white cat and pulls out a photo. The two immediately fall into animated cat talk, their conversation flowing effortlessly for people who just met. Soon, a staff member tells Osato she has a phone call. She apologizes for monopolizing their time and tells them to enjoy the rest of their visit. Later, while Iori is in the bathroom, a staff member clearing the table casually asks Mechan what she and the manager talked about. She mentions being surprised. Osato rarely chats so openly with male customers, which caught her attention. Not long after, Mechan tells Iori, still happily surrounded by cats, that it's time to go. He agrees and stands up. As they head out, Osato calls after them. They drop something. She picks it up and realizes it's the ribbon Mechan always wears. After returning it, Iori thanks her. Osato smiles warmly and invites him to come again. Once outside, Iori declares the cafe absolute heaven. Every cat was adorable, and sipping coffee while surrounded by them was perfect. Mechan, visibly jealous, points out how much fun he seemed to have talking with the manager. He admits it was fun, mostly because they shared the same love for cats, which made conversation easy. As Mechan pouts, she remembers the staff member's comment about how unusually friendly the manager was toward him. Watching him ramble happily about cats, she realizes something: anyone who truly loves cats can't be all that bad. Still sulking, she listens as Iori adds that he felt totally out of place in such a stylish cafe, and no matter how curious he was, he wouldn't have gone without her. That catches her off guard. She pretends not to care, but a small smile slips through. Deep down, she's genuinely happy. Even though he didn't really do anything wrong, she decides she'll forgive him anyway.